how does a data center power solutions provider create more awareness? So how does a company that's principally in the business of providing power solutions to data centers create more awareness? So the first question is, who are we creating this awareness for? Do we know the kind of company that we need to be creating this awareness for? Do we have an ideal client profile documented so we know where they're located, the company's size, maybe some business model or industry characteristics? Within those companies, have we identified who the most important and second most important groups of stakeholders are that we need to be building awareness with? You really, to have this awareness creation discussion exercise strategy, we need to know how the company targeting is defined, and we need to know within those companies who the most important buyer personas are that we want to build awareness with. Once we have that figured out, then we can set about looking at the primary and the secondary buyer persona, what each of their biggest goals and challenges are, and we go about creating educational content, educational events, and resources that allow us to get in as early as possible to build great relationships with these kinds of stakeholders so they see our company as the definitive go-to experts in the industry on anything and everything having to do with power solutions for data centers. And again, the nature of what's in these buyer personas is going to vary depending on how you define the kinds of companies and the kinds of stakeholders that you're targeting. And that usually comes from looking at your existing product solutions, services capabilities, and the kind of clients you've historically done best with, which usually shows up in the case studies page on your website. When you put all of that together, it becomes much easier to create awareness in a way that, by default, most companies are on LinkedIn especially, and to a certain degree on their websites, are doing awareness wrong. They're doing awareness as if every person that they come across is immediately ready to speak to a salesperson because they're going to buy today. The reality is 80 to 90% of your addressable market is not ready to buy today. They could be a fantastic fit to talk with your team, to talk with your sales team, to be up on the deal board, to have a forecasted close date and a forecasted deal size at some point in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But if you try prematurely to accelerate that, it's the same kind of crappy experience of going to buy a car and feeling like the salesperson in the car dealership wants to high pressure you into buying today, even though you told them that you have 9 months left on your lease. So we need to make sure that we understand not only who they are, but where they are in the journey. And we need to make sure that we've made the investments in a way that allows us to stay with those buyers throughout the full buyer's journey. Because if we wait till they're ready for sales contact, they're already 83% of the way through their decision-making process. That's what Gartner found. The research comparing options and evaluating pricing, typically 83% of that happens before vendor contact, before they talk to anyone from a sales team about anything having to do with IT or data centers or power solutions. So how do we make sure that we show up early and often in that first 83%? Because by default, if we just do it the way that most companies are doing it, we're only going to be there in the final 17% if we're there at all. And if you're just sharing your brochures, if you're just sharing PDFs of your products and services, of what you do with power solutions on LinkedIn and on your website, you're probably completely missing out on the opportunity to spend that first 83% with the right people in the right places at the right time, and most of all in the right context, so that they see you and your company as the go-to experts. And when it comes to creating awareness, we don't want to just create awareness that your products exist. It's incredibly important that we create awareness of the deep expertise that is within your company. It's the only thing that's going to get you out of the business of being a commodity provider. It's the only thing that's going to assure your relevance going forward. Is your client-facing team needs to show up as the definitive subject matter experts, teachers, consultants, trusted advisors, subject matter experts, thought leaders on anything and everything having to do with power solutions in and around the data center industry. So that is the most important consideration to think about, and some related sub-considerations related to some tactical and strategy to be thinking about for a company that provides power solutions in and around data centers and wants to create more awareness.